Welcome to the city of Gangneung here on the east coast of the Republic of Korea. The Gangneung province is home to Pyeongchang, the host city of the 2018 Winter Paralympic Games, but it's here in Gangneung that the para ice hockey event will take place. A host of brand new venues are waiting for the spectators of the games to arrive, which will return here next March as the para ice hockey champions. Well, let's go and find out. And our match, it's the second one of today. It is Canada, who will be taking on Norway in day one of competition from the Gangneung 2017 World Para Ice Hockey Championships. And Canada, currently the silver medalist from the championships 2 years ago, will be in tough against Norway. This will be a good challenge. We've already had the one match already today. It is Italy and Sweden, who have already contested in day one. It was a 2-1 victory for Italy. They were definitely the better of the two teams.
Yeah, the Italians, no question, pushed the pace of the play the entire game, and really the score could have been a lot worse was it not for the great play of Swedish goaltender Ulf Nilsson. He was phenomenal in that game, making all kinds of crazy acrobatic saves. It was a good effort by the Italians. Again, they pretty much controlled things right from the get-go, and an impressive victory. Could have been worse, but a competitive game, no doubt, and Italy getting on the board early with a win in game number one of this tournament.
So we have this game coming up between Canada and Norway, and still one more match today between the host Republic of Korea taking on Germany. But let's have a look. We have 7 teams in this tournament. As you see already, Italy with 3 points with that victory in game number 1. And as we run through the whole column, obviously just the second game here today, it's only the United States that don't play in day 1.
That's probably the lowest you're going to see the United States in the standings. Is yes, they haven't played a game yet in this tournament, but the United States coming in as a heavy favorite. They've won 6 consecutive international events here in para ice hockey, so they will be a team to watch. Obviously Canada, who's getting set to play Norway in just a few moments. They were the runner-up of the 2015 para ice World Hockey Championships, losing 3-0 in that gold medal game to the United States. And then from there, Norway potentially could be on the podium as well. They've had a couple 4th place finishes recently at the last World Championships and at the last Paralympic Games in Sochi. Both times not able to get that bronze medal, but they'll be looking to medal here as well. And from there, then you get into the Italy and the Sweden, Germany as well, and the Republic of Korea, who will all be trying to finish in the top 5, because if you do finish in the top 5 in this tournament, you automatically qualify for the 2018 Paralympic Games right here in Pyeongchang.
And of course, if the Republic of Korea are unable to finish in one of those top 5 positions, it'll be 5 teams from this particular tournament, plus obviously the host Republic of Korea, who would qualify directly to the games next year, these Paralympics, right here in the same venue here at the Gangneung Hockey Center. So if you're new to para ice hockey or just tuning in for the first time, we're going to talk through a little bit, show you some of the characteristics of the sport. It's fast, it's physical, and it's all sorts of action you're going to be seeing today. But we'll have a little look at some of the equipment you'll see in the sport to come as well.
You take a look at warm-ups here, and you'll notice with the sleds, there's a little gap underneath the sleds, which these players use to stick handle the puck back and forth from side to side. You see some real creative play that way. So we take a look at Team Canada warming up for this upcoming game against Norway. Also, the picks on the end of the sticks that they use to dig into the ice, propel themselves forward and up and down the ice. And obviously the blades used to shoot the puck. Some of these guys can absolutely rip it. Just watching warm up with Norway and with Canada, these guys are going bar down. They've got some great shots. It's a very physical game at times, depending on the team and the nations playing. Certainly when Canada and the U.S. meet up, like in any brand of hockey, there's a lot of physical play there. But there is a good physical element to the sport. It is fast. It is exciting. These guys can absolutely wire it, and we've already seen in game number 1 of this tournament, especially Ulf Nilsson, the Swedish goaltender, making some incredible saves as well. So it'll be a fast, action-packed game that we can expect here in game number 2 on day number 1.
And we'll probably see a little bit of an increase probably in that pace and quality maybe in this second match of the day. But we've had an opportunity already to catch up with the coaches before the game today, and Mike chatted with Ken Babby, the Canadian coach, ahead of this one.
Coach, just your thoughts as you get set to play your first game of the tournament, how you're feeling, how the team's feeling?
Well, I think we're really excited, Mike, to get going. We've been anxious for this tournament for the whole year, and so this is the end of a lot of work for a lot of the players.
What are your impressions of the facility so far? Obviously, it'll be hosting Olympic and Paralympic Games next year. Just some thoughts on the arena.
The arena is amazing, and the people have been outstanding, and we're really fortunate to be here, and it's such a beautiful facility and such outstanding committee and all the hard workers, and the great hosts we have.
Any kind of advantage being able to be in this building and in this city and in this country even ahead of the Olympic and Paralympic Games next year?
Well, you know, I know it's a trial run for the organizers and the facility, and it's a trial run for all the teams too. So from our perspective, this gives us a chance to get accustomed to the time change, the arena, and the people and the food, and it's all been very positive so far.
Everybody knows when Canadian hockey's involved, gold medal is always the ambition. United States has had the better in the last little bit. What are your thoughts on facing that big opponent, that big area, and how things can be different for you guys?
You know, we think every team is going to give us their game, so we're hoping to give every team, every country here our A game. And, you know, we'll see where that takes us. We're just focusing right now game by game, day to day, and hopefully we'll have a chance to play for a gold medal. That's our goal. But today we're just focused on Norway.
You talk about Norway. What kind of challenges do you think that they present to you guys as you get this game?
Well, Norway is a good team. I think they're well coached. They certainly take their hockey serious. They play hard. They play well. They're physical, and we're going to probably have a very strong team tonight. So we're going to have to be on our toes and ready to play.
Canada's well coached as well. We appreciate your time.
Ken was a little bit nicked up there, as you can see, a little cut in his chin. Gritty Canadian, not shy to go to the tough places on the ice, so we appreciate him doing that interview. Well, he was a little bit nicked up before the game.
Well, it's the first game for both of these teams. We've also heard from Norway, and Mike had a chance as well to catch up with Espen Hedge ahead of this important matchup here in day one.
So, Coach, just your thoughts as you get set for puck drop in this game. How are you feeling? How's the team feeling?
The team is excited to get started. I mean, been here for a lot of days now, and tough opponent today in Canada. So, I mean, we're prepared to play hard. Probably spend a lot of time in our own defensive zone, but try to make it as difficult as possible.
Talk a little bit about the facility that we are seeing here, the new arena. What are your thoughts on it overall?
It's amazing. I mean, great locker rooms, great personnel, just high class, all good.
Yeah. Do you think this will be helpful at all, given that the Paralympic Games are here again next year? You qualify for those games, just having everybody over here to deal with the time change, go through all those things a year in advance?
Yeah, obviously we have some huge goal of getting there to the Paralympics, and obviously being here now, testing the facilities, adjusting, is a good test for us.
You talk about the challenges that Team Canada can present as well, and potentially being in your own zone a lot. What's your game plan going into this game against a very strong team?
I'm going to play the man-on-man, try to compete with the speed and physicality, hopefully not make too many mistakes, and play as simple as possible.
What has to happen for your team to be successful? For Norway to win this game, you have to do what?
Score more goals than Canada.
Easy as that. We appreciate your time, Coach.
Thank you.
Refreshing to hear those kind of comments from the coach. He knows that they're likely going to be hemmed in their zone a lot by this Canadian team, a Canadian team that's a little more dominant traditionally. So he understands that. He says we're probably going to be spending a lot of time on our own end, but then you have to build out a game plan to deal with that, and it sounds like that's exactly what he's done. So he knows that his team is in tough going up against these Canadians, but he also knows that they have an opportunity to win. You hear what he said at the end. How do you do it? Score more goals.
Keeping the game simple in there. Espen Hedge is commenting ahead of this one. They'll know that these first games are really, you're up against your closest peer in this World Championship bracket. And so Norway and Canada in this first game could very much tip the balance as to which way both of these teams could go. There could potentially be an upset here. Yes, Norway are maybe on the fourth, on the perimeter maybe of a medal match in this tournament, but don't tell them that, as they'll have a chance here to take on the silver medalists from 2 years ago.
That's why they play the games, right?
And that's we're going to find out in the next 45 minutes here to come in day two. As you can see, there is the stage set as we are ready to go in the Gangneung Hockey Center. It's just the arrival and the introduction of the teams out onto the ice still yet to come. So there you see Norway awaiting. They will be in white with the red stripe across their chests and their logo, as you can see. And then the Canadians will be wearing red with the black trim, and they'll be going from right to left. There you see the officials who have already made their way out onto the ice here. And you see them just getting, it's a three-man system in the sport of para ice hockey. And our official today, it's the American Jonathan Morrison. And the two linesmen here, it is Nicholas Bradshaw, the American, and also from Sweden, Andreas Lundin, are in charge of this matchup as they make sure that everything is fastened down with both of the goals and that everything is in place. Teams have warmed up, and they are just really chomping at the bit to get going in this opener. It's been a good crowd. It's been steady. We're in the midweek, obviously, getting a tournament started, and crowds will build throughout the day, particularly with the host nation, who will be here playing in the evening game. But of course, as we build towards the weekend and 8 days of total competition, that also equally will capture the imagination here of this Republic of Korea crowd.
Yeah, it's very exciting to see some pretty steady crowds so far on day one, and as you mentioned, they'll continue to build as we get into the weekend and we get in deeper into the tournament. And it'll be interesting to see with the Republic of Korea, the host nation, playing tonight, what kind of crowds we get. We expect a lot of fans here as well. So Canada getting set to take on Norway when we, in just a few moments actually, as we take a look at Team Canada's lineup. A couple guys to watch when you're looking at Team Canada. Billy Bridges up front, the forward. He led the Canadians in scoring at the 2015 Para Ice Hockey World Championships, had 9 goals, 4 assists. 5 players also making their World Championship debut. 1 player scratched in this game, that's Armstrong. But Cozzolino, Henry, Hickey, Smith, all getting their first crack at a World Championship. And Greg Westlake as well, the veteran, 6 goals, 4 assists in the 2015 World Championship. He is no stranger to these types of competitions. He's been around the program for many, many years. So just some guys to watch. Many, many standout players for Team Canada. You can get into Brad Bowden as well. Adam Dixon on the back end. Plenty of talent for this Canadian lineup.
When you're talking about Bowden, he now is actually playing on the defense. He normally traditionally had been with Billy Bridges and sometimes Westlake. As we look across at the Norwegian team and Norway, as we are led by their coach Espen Hedge, we have a look across them. It really is Rolf Einar Pedersen, still the anchor of this team. Number 3 from the blue line, who provide a lot of the offense. The youngest player in the tournament, number 27, Emil Vatna. But this team has got some balance. Maybe don't have the star power that some of the other teams would have, the Canadians or the Americans, but what they've got is balance. They're very considered. They play to a structure, and they're a team that are going to be difficult for the Canadians to break down today. So their whole lineup really is about balance, good, sensible play. They will work hard. They'll be industrious, but they will be formulated defensively, and the Canadians will have to be at their best, and they might actually frustrate the Canadians at times today with their ability to execute their game plan. So there you see the teams lining up, getting themselves ready in and around their goal as the final bit of preparation for the start of match number 2, game 2. They're the Canadians who are in red with black trim. They'll be playing from right to left, and final discussions going on there on the bench with the referee having a chat with their coach, Ken Babby. And that is Jonathan Morrison, as the full team, Norway, just still in huddle in front of their own goal. The Canadians that aren't in the opening lineup have already made their way to the bench. And there, Babby, as you say, just touching himself up after whether that was a shaving incident on the way to preparation for today.
Got to keep your head in a swivel at all times. We're not sure exactly what it was, but either way, he's dealing with it. He'll be fine. Scratches for this game for Canada. Rob Armstrong, appearing in his first World Championship, is not dressing in this game. James Gemmel as well, the defenseman, is not dressed. And for Norway, Emil Sornheim, Lloyd Remy Solberg, and Thomas Jakobsen, number 65, the defenseman, not dressed as well. So we take a look at Espen Hedge, head coach, making some final notes. Teams lining up at the blue line, shaking hands.
That's Westlake and Norstoga, the respective captains for their teams, as they exchange gifts with one another and, of course, get the final instructions from the referees. Great communication from the officials with the players at all times. And this para ice hockey, no exception, as far as making sure that the teams understand just how the game will be officiated. And in fact, well, you certainly can't beat the referee ever. They'll focus completely on the opposition, and both of these teams will have their hands full today. There you see, that's Rolf Einar Pedersen, who has been a mainstay with Norway now. Really, he's been the cornerstone of a generation's worth of hockey in Norway in para ice hockey.
No question. He's 47 years old. 21 years he's been a member of the Norwegian team. So he is a veteran with a ton of experience. He's competed in 3 Paralympic Games, 4 World Championship medals. He's been around the sport a long, long time. He's a multi-sport athlete actually as well, competing in sledge, speed racing, and cross-country skiing, Paralympic medalist. So a tremendous athlete as we get set now. Puck drop between Canada and Norway.
And Canada have taken the opening bit of possession. And they'll just turn and look. That's McGregor who has it. He tries to make a feed across the blue line. There you're looking at Brad Bowden, who is now in a different position, a little bit of a different look. And you wonder whether the Canadians have taken a page out of the Americans' playbook with Nico Landeros and Josh Pauls and their success coming from the defense. But a feed out front, and what a goal it is. They'll be as quick as that as Greg Westlake has taken an easy score to get Canadians on the board. And what about a play here?
Nice play here to keep the puck in the offensive zone. Good little bit of stick handling there on the sideboards, able to beat his defender. And then from there, it's about finding open ice in front of the net. A lot of time here to make a pass. As you can see, the puck gets centered into the slot. Westlake all alone, nobody near him. He's not going to miss those opportunities. He opened the 2015 World Championships with 5 goals against Japan. And he gets things going quickly here for Canada, 30 seconds in.
It's an even strength goal. And it is Dominic Cozzolino who gets the assist on the play. Westlake, the goal scorer. And if you could have drawn that up, well, it couldn't have been a better executed game plan from Coach Ken Babby's side. The Canadians certainly coming out with intention to get on the scoreboard, not only first, but equally the amount of goals that they score in a game could come to play as we get into qualifying criteria throughout the entirety of this tournament.
Yeah, I don't know that the blood is dried on Ken Babby's chin yet, the head coach for Team Canada, before his team finds a 1-0 lead. And it was just great puck play along the boards to find that open space, win that board battle. And from there, Westlake was left unchecked. A lot of guys on Team Canada that you don't want to leave unchecked. He's certainly one of them. North Vancouver, BC. They call him Hollywood. Hollywood gets things going for Canada early on.
It's Canada again with control in the offensive zone. And it looks a little bit in this opening stage as if they're maybe with the man advantage. That's not the case. They've just been able to assert themselves quickly and with purpose in this offensive zone. And immediately again, the puck now needs to be frozen and a chance just to collect their thoughts. That, of course, in goal, it's Kissinger Deng, who is in goal number 19 for Norway. And so he just stretches out to get to that save. And so he in favor of Hamar to get this opening start. You wonder whether or not there will be any possible substitutions today, but it is the Canadians who make a line change, and they will be now in position. It's taken. This is Kevin Sorley. He lays it off, though, for Brian Sholomicki. A shot here. Bowden is the intended shooter, and it just kind of squirts away from that chance to control it. They reload just as quick as Sholomicki, again, just holds up on the line. And where will he find an open Canadian stick? He can't. And Norway will just send it the length of the ice. And as quick as that, what looked to be, well, the Norwegians wanting to get off to a level start. I think that opening goal has maybe flustered them a little bit and has left them just on their heels.
It's going to be an uphill battle for Norway, make no bones about it. This is a game where they're playing a much quicker, much more skilled Canadian team. It'll be interesting to see how they respond to that early goal against, as you talk about whether or not that's got them in a mindset they don't want to be in early on. But Canada continuing to dictate play in the offensive zone here as they work the old 5-on-5 power play, it looks like.
It's Sholomicki, and each one of these face-offs have been favorable for Canada. They've been able to get possession, and they're looking to bang it away. They do, and it's on the backside, and it looks as though it is going to be a goal by Kevin Sorley, number 15, who just finishes it off. And he's just on the backhand touch of it. We'll just follow this play again. It's a scramble in front of Deng, and then Sorley just with the backhand, I think, is able just to usher that puck through the body and glove of Deng. And he scores the second Canadian goal.
Sorley, the Kitchener, Ontario native, was left unchecked at the side of the net. He gets a couple whacks at it. You can see Den making the initial save, but now he's down and out, unable to get back into position. And before any defender from Norway can get to him, Sorley's there to put it into the back of the net. 2-0 Canada with 12:45 still to go here in period number 1.
So a couple of Canadian goals in just over 2 minutes of play. There you see it's Kevin Sorley, number 15, who gets credit for the goal. He was in good position. It was probably as much his industry to just stay with that play and be committed with it is what gave him the full execution of the play. But here they come again. It's like, as you say, they are on a power play, although it is even numbers. That puck is stuck to their stick, as this time it's Tyler McGregor who puts it out high to the blue line. And a good offload from the Canadians as they're patient with the puck possession. Just keeping this puck near the boards, trying to draw this Norwegian defense out and kind of stretch them. And they've moved it high, they've moved it low. And again, they get themselves into good shape offensively. And they recover this loose play here. Big contact and a hit there. It's a great one. Laying out the body is Thomas Abdal. And he makes a Canadian forward pay. And it's a great little bit of contact.
Abdal playing in his second World Championship. A great hit there and an opportunity for a stretch pass out of the defensive zone for Norway. A couple of players hanging around in the neutral zone, but nobody was able to connect on that pass there. So maybe a plan of attack for Norway to try to spark some offense is to find some outlet passes, quick passes, and get behind that Canadian defense.
Bridges out on the draw. He's up against Bogle. And we've seen it now, a couple of these icings, and this will be a tired Norwegian team now. And the referee indicating that maybe Dang was needing some attention there in goal. There's no line changing allowed, and play will restart here. So Bridges out here, and he is another threat offensively, a mainstay for this Canadian team for a generation, as he's quickly on the puck and the feed out into the slot area. The attempt there coming in, that was a hungry Brad Bowden looking for an opportunity to get it and look at Bridges and Bowden. The Killer Bees moving this puck around with purpose, and there a shot goes whistling wide of Deng. It was Bridges who fired it, and it makes its way all the way into the neutral zone.
You talk about Bridges being a mainstay for Team Canada. Made his debut in 1996. That's a long time ago. He was actually 14 years old at the time, and at the time the youngest player ever to play for Canada. So he's been around a long time, and he's still arguably their most elite scorer, a huge part of the success that Canada's had recently.
A shot here, it's a good one, and you can see the tempo on that one as it comes from Liam Hickey as he unloads, but it goes wide of the goal. We've seen that a few times already in day one as these players just try to lock their sights in there. Hickey again letting one loose, and it just caroms into the corner. And the strength of puck movement and possession from the Canadians is dominant in these opening stages, as we're still inside of the opening 5 minutes. 3 15-minute periods in para ice hockey, as right now it is a Canadian real power shift coming from these forwards as they have had the puck the entirety of the last minute.
Liam Hickey throwing a big hit down in the corner as well to keep that puck possession. A great opportunity in front there for Adam Dixon, pinching in from the defense from the blue line, and he rings it off the post. A great opportunity for Canada to extend that lead as you see them continuing to win puck battles and continuing to carry the pace of the play here. Norway's got to just find a way to get it out of the zone, maybe get a whistle and slow things down.
Well, they need a whistle desperately, as it has been very difficult. There we see Ralph Einar Pedersen, who makes the play just to get Norway out of their own zone. They get a chance to get a line change and at least a couple of the players off right now. But the Canadians, the pressure that they are applying right now to Norway is leaving them at 6s and 7s really defensively. And they've just done well to get back in some shape to keep the Canadians at the outside of this play.
We're over 6 minutes into the first period. I don't believe Norway has had possession of the puck in Canada's zone yet, certainly not for any sustained amount of time. As 8:55 to go in period number 1. We'll take a TV timeout. and be right back. 2-0 Canada with the lead.
The Canadians with a 2-0 lead. We have 8:54 remaining in this first period. It's the second match of the day from the Gangneung 2017 World Para Ice Hockey Championships. And we've already seen Sweden with a defeat to the Italians. That was in the first match. They lost 2-1. And so this one is the second taste of the action to come over the next 8 competition days, as it's Bowden who will take this offensive face-off. And again, the Canadians are looking assertive, and every time they get possession, not only are they dangerous, but they look as though they've got a game plan, and they're only too capable of executing it as well. Deep into the corner. This was some good work so far from McGregor. Gets into those tight spaces as Westlake will now come over and support him. And this for McGregor, a chance to come out. The stick handling from the Canadians is exceptional. They are so capable of using their sledges to protect the puck. Oh, and dang, takes that one right off the noggin. It's a big save, and he needed to make it.
Great stick handling there by Tyler McGregor, just undressing half the Norwegian team. Another opportunity here for Canada. It's McGregor again, and dang, and the Norwegians somehow managed to keep the puck out of the net. I tell you what, Tyler McGregor putting on a clinic in that shift. Some great moves there, trying to get that third goal for Canada as he went around a number of Norwegian players and put it right off the dome of the Norwegian goaltender, Kissinger Deng.
Great shift for Tyler McGregor. 3 for $1. He wasn't able to get the third Canadian goal, but they still have possession in this now as they rotate back. Adam Dixon, who's got it on a string, and he looks, oh, he tries to bank it off. Actually, that was a design play, looking to have it ricochet off the player in front, and fortunately for Deng, he's able to get a whistle, and what a long-awaited line change for Norway.
Yeah, it was a great shift by Canada. Again, they've controlled so much of this game in the offensive zone, and it was Tyler McGregor putting on a bit of a show out there. As Canada changes up their lines, and they've got some extended zone time potentially coming up here as well, looking for a third goal. You see the Norwegians stacking 3 players up right in front of the net there, with the anticipation being that the puck will likely make its way to the slot before too long. Canada winning the draw, looking to set up again.
This is Dixon, and he is looking for an open stick blade of a Canadian player driving through to the net and drawing the Norwegian defenders, but of course just looking for that sort of shot pass attempt with a late deflection potentially on offer there. But the Canadians, the quicker of the 2 teams on the ice without doubt, as immediately they smother any Norwegian possession, and they're back up this left wing coming towards the Norway's goal again. And a good spin move out of the corner. The offload for a high man, a shot, and does Deng have to make the save? I think it gets broken down before it arrives to him. And this now, Ben Delaney with a reverse play to Bridges. Bridges just spinning, trying to draw this defense away from the goal, give himself some room. It's a pass out into the slot for Hickey. And immediately the Canadians. Oh, what a goal it is. It's a gorgeous one from Ben Delaney. Number 10 goes high in the roof rack. And it's 3 goals on the board for the Canucks.
What a shot by Ben Delaney. He goes roof, top shelf. He had that corner picked as the goaltender, Dang, had to go down, protect the lower part of the net. Ben Delaney, the 20-year-old, he was the youngest member of the 2014 Paralympic team for Canada. He goes shelf and buries it with a beautiful shot, getting some love from the coaching staff on the bench there. Canada has a 3-0 lead with 6:20 to go in the first period. And Dang has had to make a couple of big saves already, or this thing could be worse than it already is.
A swarming Canadian attack has been rewarded with 3 goals already, as we are just coming up to 9 minutes gone in the second match of these World Championships. And again, Canada really just entirely in control of puck possession. Arsenault, a steady pair of hands on this blue line for Canada. And Bowden, who has been traditionally a forward, moved back now to this defensive position. And a decision made by their coach, Ken Babby, just giving a little bit of a different dimension now to this Canadian team. They really kind of created the blueprint for great success in the sport of para ice hockey, but the Americans have adopted that and altered it to be their own now, as the Canadians will just take a moment of control and just try to settle things down and make line changes at the same time.
Enjoy this moment. The puck is in Canada's end. We haven't seen that very much, and even when it is, Canada's controlling it. No answer so far by Norway yet, as McGregor been the most creative player so far in this game for Canada, centering pass.
Oh, it's Westlake who will score. And you talk about a passing play, as it's right on the stick of Westlake. He makes no mistake of it. He releases it high, he releases it hard. And it has found the top right corner of goal as McGregor puts it on the stick of the talisman for Canada, Westlake. And he doesn't need a second invitation in which to fire that one into the top right corner.
Looks like it might have been deflected a little bit as the puck changed course slightly. Either way, Deng didn't have an answer for it. It's upstairs. Westlake has his second goal of the game. Something about the first game of the tournament. This guy likes to start on time. As I mentioned earlier, he had 5 goals in the opener of the last World Championship against Japan, and he's got 2 here in the first period. Canada now 4-0 lead, looking for more.
And almost another crack at it there as McGregor makes this passing play. He moves it around. This is Cozzolino. So this same unit on the ice, Cozzolino, McGregor, and Westlake. Here they are again. 1, 2, 3, and it's a 5th goal on the board for Canada. It's a sweet little bit of control. I think it's going to be Adam Dixon who will get credit for the goal, number 11, coming in off the blue line, and he makes short work of this Westlake feed.
Just total dominance by Canada. They move the puck around so well. Going forehand to backhand there is Dixon as he goes underneath the sled, gets it on his left hand there and puts it into the back of the net. Nothing Deng can do about that. No chance on that goal. The Canadians just so dominant. High praise for Adam Dixon as well, and somebody to keep an eye on in this tournament. The great USA defenseman Josh Paul said if he was a coach, he would draft Dixon first overall if he had his pick of any para ice hockey player in the world. That is about as high praise as you could possibly get. And you see some of the soft hands there. Expect him to be a very offensive force, even though he is on the blue line for Canada in this tournament. He's certainly capable of putting up a lot of points. He had 8 of them in the last World Championship.
And he's on the puck right now as they regroup and look to shape their formation coming forward. It's to this left wing side. It's Delaney who is preferring to shoot from that right-hand position, but from that left wing, he has the angle closed down on him. And they'll just now find a way, Norway, to get it out into the neutral zone. The Canadians just reformulating. And as we saw really in much the same way, this is some loose play. Oh, what a shot, far down. And that is as gorgeous a shot and a finish as you will see in the sport of para ice hockey, as Liam Hickey is absolutely sent a rocket to the top of the Norwegian goal, and it is a moment of delight.
Hickey wires it, and the Norwegian defenseman wants no part of trying to get in front of that shot. What a phenomenal goal. You get a bird's eye view here from right behind the net. This thing is absolutely labeled, bar down. A beauty shot by Liam Hickey, the 19-year-old from St. John's, Newfoundland, goes shelf, and it is 6-0 Canada.
An overwhelming start from the Canadians. They get a shot in Norway. I believe that's their first of the game. And Canada very calm of getting that puck onto their own stick again to attack. As here comes Sholomiki. Sholomiki with a shot there, and he gets all sorts of power and release on that one. As all sorts of action we have seen. And there'll be a break for a moment, and we'll be back to give you more action here from the Gangneung 2017 World Para Ice Hockey Championships. And back to action. It is a offensive zone face-off again for Canada. As you see in the red and black, Norway will take this face-off. They win it. It's the immediate pressure, though, from the Canadians. That is the next obstacle in which to navigate. They've made a way out. This is a good passing sequence from Norway. Maybe their best chance advancing the puck. They had a shot, their first one, a moment ago in the last shift. And there, their battle-hardened veteran, Rolf Einar Pedersen, who's up and applying a little bit of a forecheck there, but it's a little bit sporadic right now from Norway. Or maybe give full credit to the Canadians. They have been relentless, and they have great balance and quality throughout their lineup, and you really don't see particularly one line that's going to carry the mail offensively. They have distribution throughout their entire complement of forwards and defensemen, as we've seen Dixon coming in and scoring as well.
Yeah, pick your poison when it comes to Canada. Any line that goes out there against this Norwegian team is certainly going to give them a handful. To see the captain, Greg Westlake, winning a draw in the neutral zone, and away comes Canada yet again.
Interestingly, the Canadians just have the 4 defensemen that they've iced for this one in Bowden, Arsenault, Dixon, and Tyrone Henry. So they have depth in their forward flanks. They go with 3 lines strong, and they have certainly been rolling in this opening. Now just coming up to 13 minutes gone, as they'll regroup and overlap, and in many ways underlap each other and provide that support. But that pass, not quite as accurate as they might have hoped for, and it will lead to an icing call against them. That may be one of the few miscues from the Canadians so far in this hockey game.
Well, Canada, as you mentioned, dressing 4 defensemen for this game. It's potentially 3 more than they'll need to dress, as Norway's not providing a lot of offense so far to this point. Just the 1 shot on goal. It was a perimeter shot. Auden Bakke had an opportunity as well, but wasn't able to get the puck on his stick and create a scoring chance from it. So Canada continuing to push the pace of the play here, and Norway trying to find any answer to generate a little bit of offense and maybe get themselves on the board, get some momentum going.
A good bit of structure from Norway just to break up the Canadian breakout. But again, it is Norway just content to relieve themselves of defensive pressure for a moment and just put it, oh, there's a big hit as into the sideboards. You see the collision there. The Canadian going down hard and just getting himself back upright. He may have been shooken up on that one as they're just getting themselves and going to the bench area. It's Tyler McGregor who took the brunt of that Norwegian hit, but it is the Canadians who are trying to just maintain possession in the offensive zone But maybe a little bit of frustration from Norway with the way the game is going so far.
Martin Hamre holding down the fort for Norway in the hitting department there, number 20 from Oslo, putting a lick on the Canadian skater there, and maybe that's something Norway should be focusing on if they're clearly going to be outmatched in the goal scoring category in this game. Try to play a physical brand of hockey and see if you can wear the Canadians down a little bit.
Inside this last minute of play, and Norway will just clear it the length of the ice as they got enough weight on it to go for icing. And they will, in fact, call it as 26 seconds remains when Arsenault gets back to touch that one. And you can see in this particular matchup how that utilization of Bowden has been effective for Ken Babby's side. There's lots of dimension to the speed and how they attack this Norwegian defense so far in this hockey game, as the score so clearly reflects. As it again, it is Bowden with this good little movement back and forth, he and Bridges. And now just moving it around, all sorts of options for Canada every time the puck is on their stick.
Nice stop there by Deng to keep it a 6-0 game as we're 15 seconds away from the first intermission. And you can see Canada being pretty selective there in what kind of shots they want to take. They're having some fun now. They're likely going to start getting a little more creative with the puck and trying to set up some nice goals. Everybody goes into assist mode, trying to set up their teammates as this game looks well in hand so far with 10 to go in the first.
Into the slots area. Is there another shot yet for Canada in this opening 15 minutes? And it looks as though time is just going to run out, and it does, before they can really advance with another shot in on goal. And so a great period of action if you're supporting Canada. And really, I think as much as there was the anticipation of the Canadians to have a strong opening period, to have expected them to come out and to have scored 6 goals and to have been so dominant against a very strong nation in Norway, I think really Ken Babby will be very pleased with that opening 15 minutes of play.
Yeah, no question about it. And Norway's, they're not a team to take lightly. If you look back in the last 2 international events, the 2015 World Championship, 2014 Paralympics in Sochi, they were the 4th place team. They played in the bronze medal game in both tournaments. So nothing to come in too confident about if you're playing Norway, but that was just absolute dominance from Canada. That entire period, and that is barely hyperbole, was played in the Norwegian zone. Canada just having their way with them in terms of possessing the puck, being creative with the puck, and applying offensive pressure. And there wasn't much that Norway could have done differently in that period. They were just simply outmatched by a faster, more skillful team.
It's 6-0 for Canada after the first 15 minutes of play. We'll take a break for a moment. We'll be back to show you some of the highlights here in the intermission before we resume action for the second period to come. So welcome back. Now it's an opportunity. We've got one game in the tank, but it's the first period of this game that we're going to have a look back at now and see some of the highlights, just to see you how, or show you just how dominant the Canadians really were. And we'll go through each one of these goals here coming up now.
Yeah, Canada was superior in every facet of the game in the first period as we take a look at some of these highlights. And it got going very quickly. McGregor, this is about 30 seconds into the game. A nice feed in front of the net. And into the back of the net, it was Greg Westlake scoring that goal. So many guys to keep track of. Hickey was in front here, banging away at the puck as well. Canadians applying all sorts of pressure at every moment of that first period. And here's the goal that made it 2-0 for Canada. Sorely in front of the net, getting that loose puck in. Again, great effort just to get the puck into the crease, create some havoc. He's at that far post and goes untouched, puts it into the back of the net, able to beat the defender to get that great position, and Sorley makes it 2-0. From there, we see some physical play. Big hit by the defender there for Norway, as Norway threw a couple of decent-sized hits in that period. It was about the only thing they could do to try to slow down this Canadian team, who was getting looks like this, untouched in front of the net. Great stick handling off the post. Canada, a ton of terrific opportunities. McGregor, creative as well, as he rang one off the head of the Norwegian goaltender.
And make no mistake of it, really, the Canadians were full credit for their dominance. It wasn't a Norwegian team that was particularly sloppy. It was really the Canadians who really were able to execute a game plan here. No doubt that was what Ken Babby wanted them to do. He wanted them to start fast, and you talked about Westlake getting that opening goal within 30 seconds, and then from there things really just started to unravel, and you saw some great execution on the shots from the Canadians, and sometimes those count for more than just one goal, but like a goal .5. When the team is able to execute so well against you, it'll really take the air out of the balloon of Norway, who thought maybe they could hold tough, maybe they would be able to bend but not completely break. But you would say that after the first 15 minutes of play, that defense broke down, and the Canadians were very comfortable in exploiting them really at every opportunity that was presented to them in that opening 15 minutes.
We saw just a second ago Westlake from the slot, bit of a change-up, might have hit something in front as it fooled Dang. This was an absolute rocket from in front of the net. Canada continuing to find the back of the net. Again, a turnover created off some nice offensive zone pressure there from Ben Delaney. The puck ends up finding its way to the middle of the ice. As you see Delaney here, a little whack on the stick, creating that turnover. And then right in front of the net, able to put it into the back of the net is Liam Hickey, the youngster for Canada. A terrific wrist shot. We take a look from behind the net here. This is what Deng has to deal with. Wide open looks in front. That is bar down. That is an absolute rocket.
So incredible shooting, great offense, and great game plan execution from the Canadians in that opening 15 minutes of play. I expect there'll be more of that to come. I don't think they're going to take their foot off the gas as we look at the scorers in that opening period. Westlake, Sorley, Delaney, Westlake with a second, Dixon, and Hickey. So 5 different scorers for the Canadians, so it shows you the balance and the depth and quality that they have. So that's the reflection of the opening 15 minutes. We'll give a little bit of pause here for a moment, and we will join you with more action here to come from the Gangneung 2017 World Para Ice Hockey Championships. And we are in a real thriller here for Canadian fans as they are with their tails up after 15 minutes. So day number 1 of these championships, we've already had a game, and it is Sweden and Italy who had played in the opening matchup. It was Italy who won 2-1, and we have a little look back on that game and just how it was played out earlier today.
Yeah, 2-1 was not really indicative of how the game was played. It was the Italians that dominated for much of that hockey game. And if it wasn't for the terrific play of the 50-plus-year-old Ulf Nilsson, the goaltender for Sweden, this thing could have been 6-7, 8-1. So the goaltender for Sweden had a phenomenal game, and as did number 9 for Italy as well, Sandro Caligaris. Sorry, thank you. Sandro Caligaris had a brilliant game. He was named the player of the game for Italy. He scored one of their 2 goals as well, and he was a dominant offensive force. So Italy, although it was a 2-1 score, they were certainly the more dominant team in that game.
And we both commented as we look at the league standings, or rather the tournament standings of the action so far. So Italy get 3 points as a result of that victory. Germany and the Republic of Korea still to play later on, the final game of day number 1, and we're just 1 period already gone with Canada and Norway, and the way that one's already going, you expect that the Canadians will probably have 3 points after this one. But we talk and look ahead to the final game of today with Germany taking on the Republic of Korea, and we've talked a little bit about these teams of all kind of playing against their peer in the group. It's only the Americans that aren't playing in the opening day of competition. They are the reigning world champions. They are the reigning Paralympic gold medal champions. And so they get a chance to look at all 6 of the other teams compete in day number 1. But that game, Germany and Republic of Korea, could very much set the table as to where Republic of Korea could finish in this tournament.
Germany as well, and I mean, make no mistake, it's doubtful that either one of those 2 teams is going to go up against the USA or against Canada and beat them. So when you are playing those teams that are a little closer to you in skill level, important to try to pick up wins where you can there.
And it might be for either of those teams maybe the only win they potentially get in the tournament, but of course you've got to play them in order to put them in the books, and that will be the match that comes later today, the final one that we look forward to. But right now, we're in the throes of Canada and Norway in our second match, and it's the second period still yet to come, and Canada with that commanding 6-0 lead. The referees back out onto the ice at the Gangneung Hockey Center. It is Norway just getting themselves into position as well, as it is day number 1 and a real tough day at the office so far for Norway, as they have their hands full with the Canadian team that has come here to Gangneung with certain designs on qualifying automatically through to the Paralympic tournament in a year's time, but they very much may be expressing their intention that they would like to return to becoming world champions again in the way they attack that opening 15 minutes of play.
Well, Canada no stranger to starting on time in World Championship tournaments. First game they played at the 2015 World Championship, the last edition of World Championship play here in para ice hockey. They beat Japan 17-0. And right now with a 6-0 lead after one period of play, they'd be on pace for an 18-0 win. So again, Canada coming out trying to establish early, as they were certainly the dominant team in the first period. 13 shots for Canada, 1 shot for Norway.
And underway we are again. You see that Deng is still in goal for Norway. So no selection to change personnel in that position, as a whipping shot comes in immediately to start this second period of play. And that was Tyler McGregor. And remember, McGregor was the one that was hit on the boards there. A big Norwegian body check that left him a little bit sore as he made his way to the bench area. But good to see him back out in full force as he tries to make a feed in front of goal. And again, now he's just laid it on for a late arrival. This is Bowden, who has looked exceptional from the blue line. His passing ability and his puck control, and equally his skating ability, as Westlake goes bar down and out, as it just caroms off of the iron and kicks out as quick as you can see it. And that was a ferocious shot from Westlake, who's already got 2, and that would have been his hat trick.
Westlake again left unchecked in the front, right in the slot, right in front of the net. And, you know, you're not going to hang any of this stuff on Kissinger Deng. There's not much that he can do when guys are getting open looks like that. If anything, you might want to pull him at some point in the game just to give him a bit of rest, because it's not going to matter which goalie is in the net. You can put them both in the net. It's not going to do much to slow down Team Canada. Again, some wide open looks that they've had, and Westlake can absolutely rip it. He did there. And it looks like Canada will be going to the power play here. Or not, as they score on a delayed penalty. Everybody seemed to slow down there. Nobody seemed to know what was going on. And Billy Bridges buries.
And exactly that. It was a delayed call coming up against Norway, and Bridges, well, he didn't need to be invited, did he? He comes in and he rips it and rattles the chimes as he goes off of the post and the far post and in. And that was just pinpoint accuracy from Billy Bridges as he goes back to the referee and almost excuses himself for just taking the moment with such luster as he polishes off a 7th goal for Canada.
Everybody stopped for Norway. I don't know if they thought that they had touched the puck. Everyone knew there was a delayed penalty coming. At no point did it look like they touched the puck. They certainly didn't. Even Kissinger Deng after that goal was looking at the referee with his hands up. And in the end, it's Canada taking advantage. You have to play whistle to whistle and never assume in this game. And Norway assumed that the play was going to stop when the puck was touched. It didn't. Canada buries it 7-0.
Well, it looked for a second as though Bridges, before he touched the puck, he looked at the referee to see just who was going to get the penalty, because it was a little bit of a broken play. And he was undecided, and as soon as he touched it and realized that it was actually not going to be blown dead as soon as the Canadians touched it, he just took his chance and some, and just ripped it right off and used the full perimeter of the Norwegian goal. As for a moment, Norway have established some control and in the offensive zone. But what a great lob play here, almost like a rugby attempt to do the up and under so that the Canadians can kind of catch up with it. And it's just a lofted effort just to, again, apply pressure on this Norwegian defense in all variety and manner of approach, as this is Canada again. And that one just leaving the touch and the grasp there of the shooting stick of Adam Dixon. This is Dixon almost looking like a forward on this shift as he's come, and he is in an aggressive position here. What a shot there. Deng with a save. Another wave from Canada as there is a late arrival just to pick this one up. And Norway do well, though, to get enough players just to force Canada back out of the offensive zone for a moment. Just in time, that was coinciding movement out of the zone and into the zone. And Canada onside as it's Pedersen who you almost feels like he's on an island there defensively right now, that there's just no way to get away from the waves of pressure.
You can see parked in the slot right now for Norway, number 27, Emil Vatne. That's a player we were talking about, is the youngest in this tournament, just 17 years old, playing in his first World Championship. And he's getting introduced to a World Championship in a rude way, having to take on a powerhouse like Canada. Right now they're trailing 7-0, just looking to try to keep this thing close and not let it get too out of hand.
Well, it certainly will leave an impression with the young teenager, Vatne, that says if this is the standard by which we must be evaluated at World Championship level, we are in tough, as Canada are really putting on a dominant display. And you expect the way they have gone, I don't expect that Ken Babby will want to see them slow up at all, but certainly he'll have aspects of the game that Canada are going to want to execute well, because this isn't entirely just about blowing Norway out of this arena here today. It's about, of course, them preparing for ultimately what's likely to come in a matchup against the United States that's going to determine the color of a potential medal for a team like Canada.
Canada has this thing well in hand, 10:40 to go in the second period. We'll take a quick timeout and be back with more after this.
In the second period of action, Canada with 6 goals in the first. They already have another goal in this second period, as they are in firm control right now of this matchup against Norway. It's Westlake who has 2, and he'll probably feel a little bit hard done by that he wasn't able to execute a third as he went off crossbar and down, but it stayed out of the goal as Tyler McGregor is on the far side here, the assistant captain with Canada, and into the corner he immediately is attracting 3 Norwegian defenders right there in close proximity. But it's Dixon almost looking as though he's being utilized up front, as Dang just sees that one go across the face of goal and into the corner. McGregor has had an outstanding game so far. He is on that puck in there one more time as it goes off the bar. And this time it is Cozzolino. Cozzolino, Westlake, and McGregor have been on fire for Canada in this game.
Cozzolino, the 22-year-old from Mississauga, Ontario, making his World Championship debut, looking for that first goal at a World Championship. And he rings one off the iron there. He played junior hockey for the Mississauga Jets back in 2009 before a spinal cord injury, so he is no stranger to the game of hockey. He played it at a very high level and continues to play it at a very high level here. You can see that shot, how terrific that shot was. A great look there for Cozzolino, who found some open space in the slot.
And this, the goal from Bridges as he goes off of both posts. That's the goal in this period. And we watch it again. It was the delayed call, and Bridges with the goal, but it's actually now a penalty against Canada that leads now to a Norwegian power play as into the penalty box, and there it looks like it's Adam Dixon who's in serving this one for Canada. It is Dixon with interference, so he'll sit down for 2 minutes or less as Norway with the first power play of the game. So they elect to just be patient with their approach. A shot, and it just kind of goes wide of goal. There is Dominic Larocque, who just keeps things safely at bay. And a long clearance there. What a shot from Bridges. A powerful athlete indeed as he makes his way off the ice, but you see him absolutely drive that puck from distance. And it was almost a threatening shot from halfway over the ice. And is there again a line changing issue? Too many players on the ice. It looks as though it's going to be called against Canada. And right on it is Jonathan Morrison, the American official. As he's suggesting maybe the line changes were not executed as clearly as they needed to be. And so it is going to be a 5-on-3 power play for Norway.
Well, this gets interesting now. If you want to level this game up, a 2-man advantage for Norway would probably be where you have to be at this point. So it will be interesting to see if the Norwegians can find a way to get a goal here. Obviously, with the score being 7-0, a victory might be a bit of a stretch, but it will certainly be a nice feeling for this Norwegian team if they can find a way to get the puck into the back of the net, get a little bit of confidence going, get the guys on the bench going a little bit, as it has to be obviously disheartening being down 7-0 here with 8:44 still to go in the second period.
So the opportunity for Norway, it won't get better than this, other than if they were able to somehow get a breakdown in this Canadian defense and maybe get a breakaway. But a 2-man advantage is about as good as you're going to get. And now
that'll be a 1-man advantage now.
And potentially it looks like it's going to be a hitting from behind call, as immediately Morrison on this play as Martin Hamra comes in and applies the pressure. And Morrison's having none of it regarding the way he engaged Greg Westlake. And we'll see the call. It is, they're calling it boarding. And we'll just see it here as Westlake has his back to him, and there he just jams him in, and you can see even the way he approached it. Morrison already had his hand up in anticipation of the way that Hamra was going to engage Westlake in what was a vulnerable position on the boards. So boarding it is, and now what was 5 against 3 is 4 against 3. Still the advantage for Norway. And a little bit loose in their control. They just can't keep that continual motion, as now it'll come across to Pedersen. Or rather, this is Varnes. Pedersen now, the overlap. He's the one that receives it here down this left wing. He tries to cut to a good position, and Canada not trying to be cute, though they'll get to it first. It's bounced out well for Hickey. Hickey's in a spot. Oh, and he drives right into Deng too. Oh, they're going to count it, or it's going to be Hickey who gets a penalty. The way he goes into Deng was deemed as it was his responsibility to be under control. He takes a shot here as it bounces out into a good position, and then Hickey drives it. He gets hit a little bit by Norstoga, but he goes so hard into Deng, that's going to be another Canadian penalty, and that's, I think, what's coming up indeed as you watch the collision right there in on Deng, and he has no chance in which to defend that shot because he's been taken out, and you see that he's been, well, certainly knocked out of sorts there, and certainly in some discomfort in the Norwegian goal.
That's a really hard hit into Kissinger Deng, and again, Hickey was going hard to the net, got the shot off. He was angled a little bit into the goaltender, but I think even without that defenseman being there, his momentum was likely going to take him into Deng, who is now upright and getting some attention here. It looks like he'll be all right and likely to stay in the game, but that's a hard hit. You see Deng falling backwards into the net there, and certainly Hickey, because of the speed that he was going at, it would have been tough for him to get out of the way, but ultimately that is his responsibility not to run into the goaltender in the way that he did. And it's good to see that Deng is sitting upright and looks like he'll likely continue in this hockey game. But great speed by Hickey just to get to that puck to begin with. And there it is, the contact with the upper body, the contact in the head area, and the referee is right on that immediately saying, you got to get out of the way, you didn't, you go to the box.
And this is another good reverse angle of it. Just the way that puck bounces out for Hickey. And I think it's one of those situations where Hickey had so much speed, and when he got the favorable bounce of the puck, there was no way that he was going to let up, and he was going to follow his way towards the net. But the collision with the defender as well, coming back to support his goalkeeper in Dang. And Dang now back upright as we look at the Canadian bench as they are drawing up how they want to utilize this penalty kill opportunity, how they want to execute it rather, as we see 32 seconds remaining for Norway with the player advantage. And I'm sure this is going to shake out here in a moment, and it's officially going to be Liam Hickey for 2 minutes for interference on the goalie, as the referee is discussing it with the 3 Norwegian players in front of the penalty bench. As you look at Deng, and a big man himself, it doesn't matter how big you are when you're certainly focusing on trying to make the save first and foremost, and then you have the momentum of a player's weight coming at you with that force. It certainly is going to shock you and jolt you. Even if it doesn't injure you immediately, you're going to be a little bit out of sorts, and I think that was as much of the issue for Deng there, as he's now back and ready as the face-off is now in the Canadian end zone.
Charging the official call by the referee on that play to Liam Hickey, the St. John's, Newfoundland native. And we'll see here if Norway can capitalize again. Currently 3 Canadian players in the box, 1 Norwegian in the box as well. So it is a 4-on-3 power play for Norway. They have to find a way to try to find that open man in some space, generate a quality opportunity.
It's a great clearance from Steve Arsenault, who is another one of these cornerstone pieces of this Canadian defense and team. They go with just the 4-man unit. Westlake is retreating in more of a defensive position, coming back, but it's a wide side play. Norstoga is now trying to work and control that puck, but the Canadians have done well to smother it. And Arsenault just patient and clever. That's such an excellent clearance as he gets it up off the glass and around high. And the first one to it is the Canadian now, Tyler McGregor, who has had one of the most workmanlike games of either team's players in this one so far. He has been the busiest and certainly very active in the offensive zone, and this is no exception here as he takes a shot in on goal, and it's up and over Deng.
Well, it's Harlem Globetrotters against the Generals when you're talking about the play of Tyler McGregor out there. He's got the puck on a string, and nobody can take it from him. He's completely out of his way with this Norwegian team, although they have an opportunity here. An errant pass there and a missed opportunity, as it was Ola Oseth, the 18-year-old with the centering pass in his first World Championship. Couldn't put it on the tape to an open man.
So Norway officially with their 5 complement, or 5 players out on the ice, their full complement. And it is 5 against 4, as you see inside of 30 seconds remaining with that player advantage for Norway. It hasn't been overly effective as yet, but certainly they're getting some zone time inside this Canadian back third of the ice as Pedersen will take it. Norstoga, that's a good idea there at Larocque. A little bit prone there. He was out at the top of the blue paint, and if that was on, maybe it could have been troublesome. But they'll be patient now, Canada, as Bowden again, they've elevated the puck a couple of times and been able to clear it the length of the ice, and that's been a good, effective, and defensive approach from Canada on this penalty kill.
Time ticking down now, just 2 seconds, 1 second, and out of the box comes the Canadian player. We're back to full strength. So Norwegians get into the zone here, and a hot shot, but it was blocked in front by the Canadian defender, Bowden. A nice play there to get his body in front of the net and make sure that Larocque doesn't see, his second or third shot of the game. Hasn't been many for him.
It's Arsenault with the puck trying to move and advance it forward, and some good movement from Norway just to have a little bit of sustained pressure and see if they can't build on the back of some of that puck control that they had on the power play and get some positive momentum. It's really about building blocks as much as anything. You probably at this stage accept that it would have to be a colossal implosion for Canada to concede what looks to be a victory for themselves in day number 1 in their first matchup. But of course, still more hockey left to go as we are inside of 20 minutes total, 5 minutes inside of in the remainder of the second period. And of course, still a third period yet to come. As now, with 5-on-5, Pedersen just patiently just trying to utilize the full width of the ice and make Canada work a little harder to get that puck back on their stick, but they've done it. And this is Bowden, who has certainly looked like a master stroke from Ken Babby, the Canadian coach, to utilize him now on the blue line. He often had the puck on his stick as a forward as well, but he really looks as though he's able to architect this Canadian approach coming from their defensive portion of the ice. And a good little D-to-D pass here as here comes Canada, but they're read well by the Norwegians. And that is Varnes, Martin Varnes, who tries to come in and take advantage of that change of possession.
And number 9 there for Norway. He was their leading scorer at the 2015 World Championships, had 3 points in that tournament, also won a bronze medal with this Norwegian team at the 2010 Paralympics in Vancouver. He's an Evgeny Malkin fan. He's got those nice hands. We'll see if he can maybe be the guy to try to get Norway on the board, get them at least one in this game.
And one goal would seem as though it is a little bit of a victory for Norway right now, but it'd be quite little consolation, as really ahead of this matchup, expected to be maybe tighter than it has been so far, as Billy Bridges, like a tank, is rolling into this Norwegian zone. And it's Dixon down low who tries to help him out. Rather, that is Delaney, number 10. And Delaney just wins a race for that puck, comes back and just powers his way stride for stride and just takes control of it, as Bridges, again, so physically strong, as you see him advancing that puck, and maybe not quite as accurate as he might have liked. So it's an icing call against Canada, and they are dominating 7-0 up in day 1 action.
Well, if you're Norway at this point of the game, I mean, you certainly don't want to be embarrassed out there. You're down 6-0 after 1. You don't want it to be 12-0 after 2, 18-0 after 3. So you just look for the small victories. You look to say, okay, the first period's behind us. This is going to be potentially a 1-0 score in the second period of play. And that's something that Norway can be happy with and be proud of. The penalties have obviously hurt Canada in this period and helped Norway, as they've been able to keep the puck out of their net with a little more success. But just having a closer second period and trying to build off that into the third. Maybe got a goal as well there, as you see a hot shot just missing to the left side of the net. Norway finding a way to apply some pressure here at even strength.
Canada come out well in a passing play. It's Bridges who ends up with a puck coming across the offensive blue line. He's in a good position there. He's just lost his skating for a moment as he just slid onto the side of his sledge. Dixon comes in, tries to rip one through this Norwegian defense, but he's got support, and that's one big factor, really an aspect of this Canadian game, is they have tremendous puck support in the offensive zone and the defensive zone all over the ice, and that will of course be a teaching point of Ken Babby. And any team, a team that works together, well, they're going to be successful together, as it's Dixon who tries to lay it out to Cozzolino. And this now will make its way the full length of the ice as a icing against Norway.
Minute 28 to go here in the second period. The Norwegians icing the puck again, and it's been a light night so far for Dominic Larocque, the goaltender for Canada, 29-year-old from Quebec City. He began playing in 2010. He played some junior hockey as well when he was younger, so he's just sitting there right now, maybe hoping for an opportunity or two as a goaltender. You always like to be involved in the game a little bit, but certainly he'll be happy to see his team with a pretty dominant performance so far. 1:15 still to go in the second period.
Oh, it's Westlake for his hat trick, and he goes wide right. And that was as good a chance. Well, he's already gone off the bar looking for a third goal in this match so far. That one goes wide right, and that doesn't get in on Dang. Again, though, Canada are flirting with an 8th one right here. And can they find this one here? Oh, what a save that is on McGregor, as Dang with the blocker sees that to safety into the corner.
Great stick handling there by McGregor. He was in a tight spot, a lot of defenders around him, but he went under the sled, and some great stick handling here as well on a great play by Dominic Cozzolino, who had a terrific opportunity. And the referee signaling there will be a penalty coming up, it appears, against Canada.
And Norway looking to utilize this chance with the delayed call advancing. Deng's attempting to come over towards the goal, but he's stopped halfway, and it's going to be touched now by McGregor, who had that chance a moment ago, and who will be the penalized Canadian. We still await that decision from referee Morrison. And he's talking about an interference call, and we're just going to see which one of the Canadians is coming across to be assessed with that. And already in the box, there you see, it is Liam Hickey who gets the penalty, or rather, that's Dixon that is receiving the call. So 2 minutes for interference, and Dixon's had a couple of those in this game. And just interesting how Dixon has been utilized up front more aggressively in this game. He was up and in a position to assert himself, and maybe sometimes just getting the teeth of that picking mentality in him, as the seconds will now slip away in this second period. And it is just the one goal that the Canadians are able to muster up in that second period of 15 minutes. And so a great first period, a dominant first period. And it ends up just being the one goal by Billy Bridges, and it was almost an excuse me play there, even that one, the way Bridges took it, as it was a delayed penalty being called. As we look there at the scoreline, this is Gangneung 2017 and the World Para Ice Hockey Championships from the Republic of Korea. As you see now, Norway making their way off the ice, and for Norway, you can really count that as a victory in that second 15.
Certainly much better than the first period where they gave up 6 goals. The penalty trouble that Canada got in obviously helped them, playing a significant amount of time in that period with the man advantage, but only the 1 goal against in the second period, and they'll look to shore things up even more in the third, maybe get one for themselves.
So we saw some power plays, we saw 5-on-3s, we saw another Canadian goal, but after 30 minutes of play, it is Canada 7-0 over Norway. We'll be back to show you the highlights in just a couple of minutes' time. You're watching World Championship Hockey from South Korea. So an overwhelming start from Canada in the opening 15 minutes. All of a sudden slowed up offensively in that second period, and full credit to Norway for being able to provide some of that slowing up. It needed to happen, but it's one thing to want it to happen, but to be able to make it happen. So full credit to Norway. We're going to have a look here now at some of the highlights of the game so far.
Well, it was a period that Norway can probably be a little bit more happy with, as you talk about. They only allow the 1 goal, and one reason for that is Canada got itself into some penalty trouble, but some great looks. Westlake looking for the hat trick, shot that thing about 1,000,000 miles an hour and wired it right off the crossbar. A wide open look in front of the net. Deng's not stopping that one. He's not seeing that one. And then this is a bit of a broken play here. Everybody kind of stopped as Bridges. There was a delayed penalty coming up to Norway. I don't know if the Norwegians thought they were potentially going on the power play, but everybody stopped. Even Deng with a bit of a half-hearted play at the puck, and he's looking at the official saying, what's going on there? Moral of the story, you got to play whistle to whistle. And that doesn't get much easier for Bridges, Canada's leading goal scorer at the 2015 Para Ice Hockey World Championship, getting them the only goal of the second period.
So great action as you see. You saw waves of pressure. Norway finding a way to get in the way, more so in that second period than they had done. But Canada just with relentless pursuit. And you're seeing this work here from McGregor down in the corner. And Westlake a couple of times as he actually gets made contact from behind. That was a penalty, a boarding call. And this was the play where a Canadian, this was Hickey coming in, and he gets knocked into Deng and ends up taking a penalty on the play. And he goes to the box, and you see how quickly referee Morrison was on it, but it was this favorable bounce where it went off the end boards, and because they were on the penalty kill, they were able to clear it the length of the ice, and then he was able just to win a race to get to it. But Hickey from Norstoga got knocked into Deng, and Deng was shaken up on the play.
Puck actually went in the net, which you could see in that behind the net angle, so would have been a goal was it not for the fact that Hickey's momentum carried him into the goaltender.
And then the work continues from Norway, who stay the course. It was more physical in that second period. You would see that. This is another look at it from the opposite angle, and Norway having to play that way. They weren't able to match the Canadians on the scoreboard, so they have to match them with energy and try to play that brand of hockey and maybe be able to create just some breakages in some of the momentum that the Canadians had been able to generate, certainly in the opening period. And this one of those scrambles again where Deng makes some good saves when he's asked upon to come up with it, and when he was in a position and these types of scrambles here where he can maybe size up where the shot's coming from, he was equal to the questions being asked.
Yeah, you're not going to hang any of this on Kissinger Deng. There's not a whole lot he can do. You look at a lot of the opportunities for Canada in this game, and you look at a lot of the goals that Canada has scored in this game. These are wide open looks in the slot. You know, Greg Westlake ringing that one off the bar as he was looking for his hat trick. Wide open from 6, 7, 8 feet away, and there's not much any goaltender at any level is going to be able to do when your defense is giving up those quality opportunities. So maybe Deng, whether or not he comes out for the third period, if anything, it would maybe just to give him a little bit of a rest with a lot more hockey still to go in this tournament. But you're not going to hang any of this on the Norwegian, or the Norwegian goaltender.
A very potent Canadian performance so far. We'll have a little break for a moment as we look at the shots on goal. 18 shots for Canada to nothing, and 21 face-offs to 10 that they've taken, but they've taken 8 penalty minutes to 2. We'll be back to recap the action so far in day 1 from the Gangneung 2017 World Para Ice Hockey Championships.
mic on. Four points for McGregor.
So realistically, as we look ahead to the third period still yet to come, I guess the question becomes, Mike, as to what's really going on in the dressing room for Norway. What is their game plan as they try to approach this final 15 minutes?
Yeah, I think you're happier with the second period. And again, Canada got itself into a lot of penalty trouble, and that's one reason why you only saw the one goal for Canada in that period. But at the same time, if you're Norway, you're down 7-0. Let's be realistic. They're very unlikely to come back and win this hockey game. I'll just go ahead and say it's going to be pretty much impossible. So what you want to do if you're Norway, limit the opportunities that Canada has, those grade A opportunities. Maybe try to create a little bit of offense, but you saw them play a more physical brand of hockey in the second period. Keep that physicality up and just try to keep this game somewhat respectable, keep Canada under 10 goals, and that will be their objective as we head into period number 3 here.
They're at 7 already, so that would just be 3 more to come. And interestingly, the only team that does not play in today's day 1 of competition is the United States of America, and they are the reigning world champions. So of course, the remaining match we have today is Republic of Korea, the host nation, taking on Germany. And USA, as we say now, they're sitting in the middle of the table. We only have the one result officially on the board, and that is Italy, who won 2-1 earlier today. And this one looks to be that the Canadians will join them with a victory from their one match of play. But the Americans have interestingly got to be watching this Canadian performance and wondering just to see where they're going to match up. They last played against each other in importance before Christmas 2016, when they played against each other in a championship in Bridgewater, Nova Scotia, and the Americans were able to win that tournament as well. But they've had a little bit of a change of direction, maybe with the passing of their coach since that time. It'll be interesting to see what the Americans are thinking as they approach their day 1, which will be in day 2's competition.
No question, everybody's excited to see the USA play, and we'll have to wait till day 2 to do that. We still have lots more as we get set for the third period. Here from the Gangneung Hockey Center, it's Canada 7, Norway 0.
So it is the third period that awaits in the second game of day 1, and it is Canada who are currently on a penalty kill. It is Adam Dixon in the penalty box for 1 minute and 45 seconds to start this third period of play. But as we saw the overwhelming start, as we talked about in that first period, to get an even half dozen goals, and then just the one as they got into a little bit of penalty trouble, but also a Norwegian team that's smart enough to be able to adjust to what the Canadians were doing in that first period. And we have found ourselves in a little bit of a tighter hockey game as we get ready to start the third.
Yeah, we see some fans taking in the game here, enjoying a lot of offense. If you're cheering for Canada, if you're cheering for Norway, not so much, but it'll be interesting to see how the Norwegians fare here in the third period. And you made a good point. Norway was able to impose themselves a little bit more physically in that second period, and what it led to was drawing some penalties. And maybe that's a good way to keep Canada. Obviously, if you can keep them shorthanded, you'll limit their opportunities in the offensive side of things. So about 10 seconds away from puck drop here for the start of period number 3, and no question with 1 minute 45 to go in this power play for Norway, they'll be hoping to break that goose egg and get themselves on the board.
And we are underway as McGregor will take collection of it. And he really has been, for my money, McGregor might be one of the players to be considered at the end of this one as a player of the game for Canada, just simply because he's been doing things like this immediately on the puck, although he almost kind of sets up the breakout for Norway on this power play. And they will come forward, but they're considered about it is Norstoga. Norstoga meets Westlake at the offensive blue line, and Westlake is a great athlete, physical as well, but here comes McGregor as he'll go wide, as he elects to go to the left-hand shot. But right just as they would like, the Canadians have got Norway a long ways away from threatening their own goal. And this will just be ushered around by Klekeg. And Westlake will go into a jam here. Nostoga, not a bad idea, just to try to change his angle at the last second, just so he doesn't meet Westlake head on there as they were running out of real estate over on that far boards in front of the Canadian bench. And good body contact again on this penalty kill, as McGregor is got to be at least the hardest working player on the ice that we have seen today, as the power play has pretty much been broken down. Now this could be a last wave of an attempt from Norway, and it's just goes sliding into the corner, and they'll smother it well enough, will Canada. They'll clear it one more time, and even though the return of Dixon is just as the puck crosses the goal line, there won't be any icing against it. So back to 5-on-5 play and a successful penalty kill for Canada, and they will try now to put their offensive boots back on and get attacking this Norwegian defense. I think Billy Bridges is wrapped up with the Norwegian Hamra. It looks as though Hamra's got some of his equipment, some of the strapping for himself into his equipment is free, and they'll have to get that tidied up. That could be an unsafe piece of equipment just trailing, as he's now gone fully across the ice as Canada just reload. They've got a much more confident approach the Norwegians do. They're getting a sense for the movement and the patterns of the Canadians.
Well, you see that piece of equipment that's strapped there. An official finally has picked it up. There was opportunity to do so in the neutral zone. I'm not sure why they didn't pick it up, but you obviously don't want an athlete skating over top of that. And here's an opportunity as Peterson setting up a teammate for a great shot in the slot there by Bakke. And Larocque hasn't had to be busy so far in this game, but he makes a nice blocker save.
Great start from Norway in this third period as they come out. And that probably as good a looking chance as they've had in this hockey game. As now this is Delaney. He's got Dixon. He's moved it to Bridges. Bridges will shoot it. Bridges goes low and off the outside of the right side of the goal. And Bridges gets a stick across his chest area. He's wondering and indicating to Morrison, the referee, as to whether or not that could have been called as a penalty, as Pettersson is stripped of the puck. And he'll circle back and force now the Canadians. This is Adam Dixon to go all the way back, and Canada will again just redevelop their breaking formation as they come forward. Delaney holds it up, leaves it for Sholomiki. Sholomiki with a tight move keeps it right in the side saddle. And this is going to be a shooting release here. Dang. And he is there in good position, squares up to the shot. And Norway now just holding and turning. Pedersen trying to hold it in their clutches long enough so that they can make a clearing play. But Bowden goes back for Canada. Such a great skater. And he's just trying to find a little bit of a lane here. But what a great move as he buys space for Sorley. Over, it's intended for Bowden, but he can't get it across the face of goal as the give and go almost got the get back as Sorley just lowers the boom on Pedersen and takes him right off his skates.
Looking like Marty McSorley with a hit like that. That was a great shot by Kevin Sorley, very physical. Bowden made a great play in the neutral zone, getting the puck up to his winger and then circling wide around to the right side of the ice to find that open lane to the net. Unfortunately for Canada, pass couldn't get across to him. It was broken up by the defender. But just a really nice route taken there by Bowden after making the play in the neutral zone to get his winger the puck and create an opportunity for himself.
So Klackhag comes back into good position. You're seeing a much more sensible Norwegian team finding their structure, finding their feel in this hockey game. They haven't got the same depth in their lineup. As you look across at their bench right now, they've just got the 4 replacing players, 5 of them total. Canada with the best part of 7, 8 of them there. So you're wondering whether or not an injury has been picked up in the course of this one. But it's the depth and quality that is indicated on the scoreboard so far for Canada. Dixon with a great shot. Dang, as it's into the body. And we will have a pause for a moment. It is 7-0 for Canada over Norway, and we're in the 3rd period of play. .9:27 remaining in this one. It's a face-off in the offensive zone for Canada, and their captain, Greg Westlake, is up against Magnus Bogle. And it's still underneath both of the players as they compete for it. And Westlake, it says officially on the stats that he only has the 1 goal in this one. We're pretty certain he's got a couple.
I watched him score 2.
And whether it's reviewed, that might be clarified at the end of the match as they go through to get the official scoring. But right now, it's the scoring of 7 for Canada. That is the big stat of the day. As the shot comes in from number 8, Tyler McGregor. And ever busy is McGregor, keeps this line going. He's kind of the glue between Cozzolino and Westlake. All of them are well capable of scoring, and so is this man. Dixon, who comes down low, but it goes back to McGregor. He just chips it into an area for only he could get back that puck onto his stick. And deep into the corner, Cozzolino is a late returnee out of the zone. He was confident that Canada were going to be able to keep that puck in the offensive zone, and he was correct in thinking so, as they still have it over in the corner here, and it's just cycling, waiting for a release play out of this little bit of board play. And where now will it come from? From Cozzolino as he just spins on a dime there to get away from the Norwegian pressure.
You look at the scoreboard, 7-0 Canada with the lead, and you might say, well, 7 goals going in on a goaltender. He couldn't have played very well in this game. Kissinger Den, after 2 periods, Canada had 18 shots on goal. And here comes Westlake looking for the hat trick, and he's got it. We talked about it earlier, unofficially, 2 goals. He's been given credit for 1, but we believe he had 2 coming into the third, and he's got another one. A great seam play up the middle here. We've seen Westlake shot in this game a few times already. He's hit the pipe as well. Nice pass into the middle of the ice, and you give Westlake a look like this, you know where it's going.
Sensational feed from Liam Hickey, who gets it up to Westlake. And this is just a gorgeous pass and an even better finish, you might say, but it would have never been there hadn't Hickey had the sight and equally the ability to thread the eye of a needle with that pass up to Westlake. And he, as we say, unofficially with the hat trick. Here comes Billy Bridges across this slot area. The feed is down to Delaney. In this unit here of Delaney with Billy Bridges and also Liam Hickey. It has been dangerous all day as Arsenault just leaves it for the roll over the top here for Liam Hickey. Oh, what a
save by Dagan. It's loose
it's
behind
still
him.
alive.
How does that not find the back of the net? An unbelievable save, and Deng is not happy. He's screaming at the official right now. The puck, first of all, a tremendous save, and then the puck bouncing right behind him. He had no idea where it was. It hit him in the backside and somehow stayed out of the back of the net.
And here comes Canada again. So an incredible moment there. How Deng kept it out. It maybe was more by fortune than design. But Canada are still coming and looking to try to get to double digits and keeping the Canadians in single digits, considering the 6 goals that were conceded in the opening 15 minutes would be a tremendous victory for Norway. But this is Bowden in front. Deng doesn't have to see that puck, as I think he just loses the handle just as he was about to shoot it. And now line changes as it goes the full length of the ice, and Larocque just sets it up for Adam Dixon now.
We've seen Dixon and Bowden, as we just saw as well. Very aggressive pinching from the blue line. This will be something to keep an eye on as Canada faces some stiffer competition in this tournament. How offensive-minded these guys can be. They're terrific skaters on the back end, and an open look now in front of the net, but unable to get the puck on his stick was Corbin Smith. He had an opportunity. We haven't mentioned his name yet in this hockey game, but he had a good look there.
He did, and it just wasn't able to be collected and controlled, as now the Canadians are met by a stronger, more confident Norwegian team in the neutral zone. And you're seeing that, although we had great flashes there a moment ago, that the near miss, you really need to give credit to Kissinger Deng for being able to prevent that puck from going in, because it looked more certain that that could have gone in than kept out. But he found a way as play has continued, and we haven't had a break since, as that is the first whistle since that save sequence. And that was a tremendous moment here, as we'll probably have a look at it in a second or two.
Well, first of all, it was a terrific save by Deng just to get his body in front of this puck right there, and it bounces up off the crossbar. Delaney with a whack at it. You can't get a great look of it there, but it actually goes off the backside. So first of all, here's the terrific save. I think it hits him in the mask off the crossbar. It's behind him and somehow stays out.
And Delaney was right there. The puck was just bouncing a little bit. It had legs and it couldn't be controlled. And Delaney just desperately swiping at it with a wide open goal and couldn't get purchase of the puck to get it across the line. And now Canada uncharacteristically send that one down the length of the ice for icing. And it's a little bit unusual, as sometimes it's most difficult part, I think, sometimes for a coach, is to keep your team focused when you have such a commanding lead and executing the small details of your game.
Yeah, well said. The one habit you don't want to fall into when you do get out in front in a lead like this is sometimes teams and sometimes players can have a tendency to get a little cute with the puck, and you start being a little bit lax on those details, the fine details of the game. Larocque making a nice glove save there through some traffic. So if you're Canada, you don't want to start going all Hollywood out there and trying to create these cute plays. You want to stick to your game plan, make sure you don't form any bad habits, because there will certainly be stiffer competition to come in this tournament.
And they've had a chance now, Norway, to match up against these Canadians. They have got more physical as the game has gone on. That's been to their advantage. And it looks to be something that they've learned from this matchup, and I'm sure as well the Americans and all the teams in the competition will see that as a way to approach engaging in their game against Canada. And of course, it's a way to play against any opposition in this tournament. If you can knock them around a little bit, get physical, generally you're going to have a chance to distract them and upset their approach. The Canadians had it all their own way in that opening 15 minutes, but here is a breakaway pass, and it's going to be McGregor who gets the benefit of it, and he's got a fierce shot, but it's high and wide off the glass.
Good look there for McGregor. 4 points already in this hockey game. He had a great opportunity to try to find the back of the net. He whistles it high and wide. It circles back out of the zone, but here comes Canada again. And who else? It's McGregor. I don't know that anyone's had the puck on their stick more in this game than Tyler McGregor for Canada, the 23-year-old.
He has been outstanding, and with now coming inside of 3.5 minutes, he would be, for me, the player that I have certainly noticed as being the engine and equally a catalyst of the offensive spark for this Canadian team as he tries to come out of the corner here and get a shot off there. He changes hands. He looks as capable with the left as he is with the right, and it never seems to be that you've taken away all of his options, as now it'll be Arsenault who comes in for another bit of sustained possession. And where will the shot come? Cozzolino goes high and wide, and sometimes the sights of the Canadians maybe not quite as accurate as they would like. They'll reset those and recalibrate their looking. Oh my goodness, what a ferocious shot that was there as they come in, and this is McGregor who is putting on a clinic right now.
McGregor, he's got a management degree from Guelph University. I'm thinking it might be in puck management. He's had the puck on his stick so often in this game, and almost impossible for the Norwegians to take it from him. He's putting a shift and a half in right now. He's been on the ice for, seems like forever, but he's not showing any signs of slowing down. He whistles one there and scores. You knew it was just a matter of time for Tyler McGregor, and he didn't get everything on it, but he got enough to get it by Kissinger Dang. Make it 9 for Canada.
It's a seeing eye shot from Tyler McGregor, and we were basically talking about him that whole shift. It's like a highlight reel, and it was just a 2-minute shift for Tyler McGregor, who punctuates it with the cherry on top here with a left-handed finish up and over the glove hand of Dang, and you really can't fault Dang again. There's a moving screen in front of him, and it forces him to have to stay with that distraction. And then look at the shot from McGregor right inside the post, and there's 9 now on the board for the Canadians.
Well, 2 minutes and 6 seconds can't come fast enough for Kissinger Dang, who's again faced so many high quality opportunities. It's hard to put any of this on him. He's made some good saves as well, but with 2 minutes left in the hockey game, Norway will be happy just to get out of here in single digits. Canada with the 9 spot on the board right now.
And the Canadians will have other ideas. They'll be looking for double digits. It's another maybe sense of victory, not only to win the game and to get the full 3 points, but of course a punctuation point. To get double digits is always a little bit of a marker, and they can draw a line in the sand as to their intention in this tournament, because of course it's not just the one game that counts, it's the total accumulation of what's to come and the important games that will be awaiting the Canadians and of course the Norwegians too. And both of these teams realistically should be in medal games in this tournament, as after the round robin play, the 7th place team will no longer take part, and they will have to qualify through the further tournaments in the year, and then it will, depending on where the Koreans finish, will determine just how the results will shake out. A 5th, 6th place game, and then the bronze medal game, and of course the ultimate, the gold medal game for the World Championship decider. So this now with a minute to go, and Sorley gets roughed up hard into the boards, but he stays with it. He's aggressive, rather ambitious with that passing play, and it was Bowden who he was trying to find it onto his stick, and they load themselves up, but maybe not quite as clean as they would have liked to have been, the Canadians. A little more disruptive on the forecheck, Norway have been through the game as it has grown on. And this is Bowden, who's just now forced to have to stay and rethink his options about bringing this puck forward.
Well, Canada will be happy just to run the clock out here with 20 seconds left in this game, as you see them just controlling the puck, circling it behind their net as they do right here. No need to try to pound in a 10th goal here with 10 seconds left. With a dominant performance by Canada in this hockey game, getting out to a fast start. They scored 6 in the first period. They scored in the opening 30 seconds or so in this game as well. And it didn't take long for Canada to establish themselves as the dominant team here. They pick up a 9-0 victory.
And so maybe a little bit of a surprise at just how well the Canadians were able to start in this tournament. But what is often the case as well in day number 1, all the teams as they come into a world-class tournament like this are still all waiting just to see just where things are going to shake out. And generally day number 1 is a good indication as to how things are looking. But there you see, and if you've been watching throughout the entirety of this game, the damage really done in the opening 15 minutes when it was a 6-0 scoreline for Canada after those opening 15. We talk about some of the players of the game potentially here as we look. And I really would say quite comfortably as we talk about our man, Mr. Tyler McGregor, potentially for Canada. As we look across at Norway, I'm not sure who you would pick for that one.
Well, I think the problem with picking a player of the game for Norway, and they will pick one, is that I don't know that anyone had the puck on their stick long enough to really do anything productive with it. It was such a dominant performance by Canada. I mean, Kissinger, dang, just give it to him because of what he had to deal with. He did make some nice saves in this game. Rolf Pettersson was their best player, the defenseman number 3. He had some good moments in this game as well, stick handling and trying to push the pace of the play. But for Norway, unless you want to give it to the goalie, there wasn't really anyone else that had the puck long enough to do anything significant with it. And I agree with what you say as well. McGregor was dominant for Canada, certainly the most creative player in this game. He racked up a lot of points as well. Greg Westlake would be the other guy. He scored 2 goals, maybe 3 goals. We'll see how they rule it when this game is over. But Westlake and McGregor stood out for me up front for Canada. And then, dang, you just feel bad for the guy.
Well, he certainly was given a tall order to try to complete and execute for Norway to go in goal and to stem the flow. But after 6 goals in the opening period, to have it reduced to only 3 more in the remaining 30 minutes, it really is a victory. You have to say that Norway got better as the game got longer, or as the game went on, as we are getting ourselves prepared now for the presentations of the Player of the Game awards, and each side will be getting those presentations. We'll allow now the arena announcer to indicate those as they are coming up. So everybody in position and ready for the announcement and the selection. So of course we have no part to play in the selection of the awards. It's just our thoughts up here as we comment on the game today.
The award will be presented by Dwayne Caldale. Best player of Team Norway.
So Norway with the first player of the game to be selected. And it's going to be Odin Bakke who gets the acknowledgement from the selection committee here at the Gangneung 2017 World Para Ice Hockey Championships, and a great feather in his cap against the very stiff opposition today in Canada.
Yeah, he had a couple of good looks and good opportunities. As far as scoring opportunities went for Norway, they were few and far between. I did like the game from Pettersson on the back end. If you had to single out a forward, he would be the guy. That's why he's up there right now getting that award, as we'll listen in and see who the player of the game was for Team Canada. We mentioned Westlake potentially. We mentioned McGregor as well.
The best player of Team Canada is number 12, Greg Westlake.
So they're going to give it to Westlake, the captain for Canada. And still unofficial as to whether or not he's going to be recorded with the, or given credit rather, for the hat trick that we certainly saw from here. But how the official scoring will play out, it's really irrelevant. He was dominant. We really liked the game, as we talked about, of number 8, McGregor, but equally sometimes they acknowledge the output offensively. McGregor, though, outstanding with 4, if not 5 points, I believe, in this hockey game, but Westlake is an easy choice as well.
Yeah, Westlake was very good in the circle as well, won a lot of face-offs, and did a terrific job. The goal scoring front, as we mentioned, I believe he had 3 goals in this game, depending on how they rule. The first one scored by Canada. But not only that, he had a lot of great opportunities, and Canada getting a big 9-0 win.
Anthem of Team Canada.
관중 여러분, 우승팀 캐나다의 국가 연주가 있겠습니다. 캐나다팀 국기를 향해 서주시기 바랍니다.
Fans, the competition is now over. Next game is
So,
at 7
as the
o'clock.
teams now shake hands and prepare to sign off for day 1 for themselves, there's still more action to come, but of course we're going to have a little look here in a moment at the official highlights of this matchup. And we saw that overwhelming first 20 minutes. We'll look back across the game that we've just witnessed here today. Canada with an impressive 9-0 defeat over Norway.
Yeah, this game was decided in the first period. We talk about the 6 goals that Canada scored, and they came out of the gate flying. They scored 30 seconds into this game, and really from the moment the puck was dropped, it was very obvious that Canada was controlling the play, imposing themselves offensively on the Norwegians, who didn't have any answer for them. And a lot of Canadians got in on the score, and we talked about it earlier, 5 different Canadians scoring in the first period of play. As we take a look at our highlights from this game, and it started early. McGregor, a great opportunity. Deng getting a blocker on that one. But Canada with just a flurry of opportunities in this hockey game. You look at one chance here, a nice blocker save made by Larocque. He wasn't busy, he wasn't tested very often. But Dominic Larocque, the goaltender from Quebec, making a nice save there. And again, Canada's ability to pressure the Norwegians. You see a nice body check by Kevin Sorley. Apply that pressure, get bodies to the middle of the ice. McGregor here, phenomenal play, getting the puck around the net, centering the puck as well. Canada did a tremendous job of penetrating that middle of the ice area that's so important. It's where they got a lot of their opportunities from. And if it wasn't for Deng making a couple nice saves like we've just seen, this game could have definitely been into double digits.
And very impressive shooting from Canada in this hockey game. And Deng is a big, imposing goaltender, able just to take away some of those elevated shots, but the Canadians never stopped testing him. As you see the finish there from Westlake, and what a feed it was through to Westlake as he finishes this play. And this is just this nice little backhand shovel into Westlake, and he makes no mistake of it there as he buries that passing play. And that's as beautiful a play as we saw in the game. But Westlake, ever dangerous whenever he is given an opportunity, and at that type of range, there's nothing that Kissinger Den is going to be able to do with a play like that. As they just kept coming, they kept shooting, and certainly as this play was really good fortune for Deng.
You know what? That was the hockey god saying, we've been hard enough on you, Kissinger Deng. You know what? We're going to give you a bounce. It hits the crossbar, and Delaney was Johnny on the spot right there trying to bang it home, unable to do so. And one of few opportunities here, as that was Bakke, the player of the game for Norway, unable to get the puck past Larocque. Made a nice glove save there. Again, he was not tested very often, but when he was sharp, and he was able to pitch a shutout for the Canadians.
So more looks at what we saw in match number 2 on day 1. And of course, we'll have a look at the standings now coming up here very shortly. Just to give us an overview of where we're at with the tournament, the only team not to play, as we talk about, is the reigning gold medal world champions, and that is the United States of America. They don't play in day 1. They will be in action in day 2, as we now have that opportunity when the table will come up here in a second. But it's the final game of the day. It's Republic of Korea taking on Germany. That's what we have to look forward to still. So if you've been watching so far, there's lots of stats and information on Paralympic.org. If you want to tune in and have a look at all of the tournaments, activity going on there, more information and more to update yourself with the action here from Gangneung at the 2017 World Para Ice Hockey Championships. And it's been a great day so far, as we will have a look, I'm sure, as a table as we get ready to sign off. But make sure to stay with us for the Republic of Korea and Germany still yet to come in day 1 of these championships. For Brent Pope and for Mike Kelly, we've been enjoying it here. I think that's...
we certainly have, and I'll say one thing. It's kind of apropos that they're playing the Top Gun theme behind us, because in this Germany's Republic of Korea game, number 14, Jung Sung-hwan, is one of the fastest players, if not the fastest player in all of para ice hockey. So he's somebody to watch for the Republic of Korea, who can certainly do some damage. He moves around the ice very quickly. As we take a look at the ice surface here, Canada, dominant performance. Here are the stats, the final stats in the game. Shots 26-3 for Canada. That was how dominant a performance it was, and the score obviously dictates that as well. 9-0, but still one more game to come, as you mentioned, Brent. And it is Germany taking on the host Republic of Korea.
So 26-3, the shots on goal. And of course, as well as you see the face-offs there, 24-13, the victory. So that, for the moment, as we'll have a chance here to look at the standings, and it will just show how the Canadians sit with 3 points as well. And it is Italy as well with 3 points after their victory over Sweden earlier on today. And then, of course, determining that game, Germany and Republic of Korea, just how the tournament might go for either of those two teams, depending if they can get the full use of the 3 points on offer to them. So, ladies and gentlemen, tune back with us. We have more action still to come on day 1 with match 3 still to come. And so now we have the interviews just post-match.
The guys really came out flying today, and we stuck to our game plan, and we had a good result.
You saw the game from the stands as opposed to on the bench. How did the game look from up there?
We're happy with it. Certainly we seem to be under control for most of the game. A little bit of penalty trouble in the second, but for the most part, I think our guys executed as per the coach's game plan.
6-0 first period, that was an excellent start to the game.
It was. We've been here for about a week and itching to go, so you could see it in the guys. They were really excited to get going, and they came out flying.
So you say you've been here a week. How you found the facilities and Gangneung Sorry. You've been here a week. How have you found the facilities and all?
Everything's been terrific. This facility is first class. Just a beautiful, beautiful spot, and everything about it really has been well thought out, and we're very well taken care of here. We're really happy with it.
And thoughts on the venue? Of course, it will host the Paralympic Games next year.
It's spectacular. Everything about it, they've really thought it through well, and it's certainly a place that we look forward to coming back to.
Marshall, thank you very much for your time.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, For Brent Pope and for Mike Kelly from the Gangneung Hockey Center, that's the end of match number 2. More to come from the tournament here, the World Championships, with Republic of Korea, the Germany. Stay tuned for that match, still yet to come today.